6 months ago I made this paludarium, and today I'm going to show you what I do to maintain it. I'll take you through the 5 key maintenance steps that I follow to keep this ecosystem growing healthy and strong. As I'm sure you can see, this paludarium has grown in and changed a whole lot in the 24 weeks that it's been set up. For the purpose of this video, I haven't done any maintenance in the past 2 months just to show you what will happen if you leave it alone. At first glance, everything looks healthy, but there are certainly a few problems which could have easily been avoided with a quick bit of maintenance. The first step is to get out the scissors and start cutting back some of the plants which are starting to overgrow the tank. This step might not always be necessary, and it does depend on how much the plants have grown. In this case, it's certainly in need of a good cutback. It's hard to tell, but there is actually a waterfall that is flowing behind all this overgrown moss. In this case, I think it's easier to put down the scissors and start pulling out the moss by hand. It's pretty crazy just how overgrown the waterfall is and how much moss it's got growing on it. I've pulled out a good handful, but I won't be throwing it away as it will come in handy for future builds and projects. It's really nice to be able to see the waterfall flowing again. The hydrocotyle has really started to overgrow, and it's going to soon start choking out some plants, so I'm going to remove as much as I can. Once again, these cuttings can be saved and used in future builds. Now let's move on to step 2, which is removing dead and dying leaves. In any setup, you're always going to get leaves that are dying off, but you don't always have to remove them. I'm removing these ones as they really don't look too good at the front, but I'll leave the ones at the back for the springtails to take care of. Now I'm going to cut off the leaves that appear to be yellowing and dying off from the plants. There does appear to be a good number of leaves that are dying, which is certainly not ideal. I'll explain why this is happening and how to fix it in step 4. It's always good to remove these leaves as it allows the plant to focus its energy on growing new healthy ones. Step 3 is focused on the water area. I'm going to clean it up and do a good water change. First up is removing any algae that's growing inside. Using something like an old toothbrush or a straw cleaner makes this super easy. If I was to keep on top of maintenance, this algae would never have become an issue, but it's a good example to show what happens if you completely leave the ecosystem alone. After removing as much algae as I can, I'm using some scissors to trim back any roots that are overgrowing in the water. I'm now giving the glass a good clean before the water change. I'm shutting off the pump, placing a tub underneath the tank and then siphoning out the water with some airline tubing. Whilst draining the tank, I'm trying to remove any algae that might have settled on the bottom. With at least half of the water gone, I'm going to go ahead and fill it back up with some dechlorinated tap water. For an established setup like this one, I'll do a water change every 2 or 3 weeks. Now let's move on to the 4th step. It's an important one. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of the leaves inside this tank are turning yellow and certainly don't look too healthy. The reason this is happening is that they're simply not getting the nutrients that they need. To address these problems, what I like to do is to add some fertiliser. This is some fertiliser for planted aquariums, and I like to add a few drops every couple weeks. The plants will pull these nutrients from the water to keep them growing healthy and strong. The last step of the paludarium maintenance is to give the glass a good clean. I'm simply using some water and paper towel. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you want to learn how I made this paludarium from scratch, check out this video here.